What's going on, guys? Karen back again from Attack on Anime, here to bring you ReZero episode 4 review. And before I even start the review, shout out to Jirachi. I told you this week would probably make me eat all my words from last week. This episode was hilarious. It set up the story, and we finally get more information about that insignia that I've been waiting for. This episode was so cool because we get a quick sense of everyone in the house. Like, everyone's personality is pretty much like cut and dry. We're introduced to it really quickly, and I understand everybody's personality off the bat. We meet Betty, who he calls a lolly, which had me on the floor crying. It was so funny. Like, I love how he can use words from our world, but they won't understand it because they've never heard any of those words before. But they're just like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I feel like you're insulting me, and it just pissed me off. The insignia is essentially Amelia's qualification to be the 42nd king of this nation. And the reason a new king is being even selected is because their king is MIA. Like, they just said he went missing one day, and now that this epidemic had broke out in the castle, and it just caused so much confusion that they have to make a selection for a new king. This council of wise men is apparently running the country, and now Subaru's a suspect in all of this because he just came out of nowhere. And the Lord of the Manor, Rosewall, he's pretty mad because he's just like, all right, not only are you a suspect, but now you're connected to my household. So now you're bringing my name into it. So he's just like, he's pretty peeved about that. And Rosewall even goes so far as to thinking that Subaru is a spy. And the maids are just like, I don't know if he's competent enough for that. Like, they don't know if he's smart enough. He seems too carefree to be a spy. And Rosewall is just like, that may be an act. Let's keep him under watch. And did anyone else find it weird that out of all the things Subaru could have asked for from a rich family, one of the richest family in all the lands, you could have asked them for anything, but you asked them to hire you? Like, even Amelia said, why didn't you just ask to be a permanent guest? Like, you wouldn't have had to do shit. But he asked to be hired there. Me personally, I would have either went with Amelia's tactic and be like, why didn't you ask to be a permanent guest? Or just ask to marry Amelia. Like, you can marry your way into the riches. Like, there's just so many other things he could have done besides saying, hey, hire me. Because anyone with common sense would be like, man, this big old mansion, I am not about to do all this work. Because even when they're going down the list of his jobs, like, literally, it's pretty much cleaning the entire mansion, and that thing is huge. It's so huge, he gets lost in there. And we also find out that Betty, the girl he met earlier that he called a lolly, she's essentially the librarian, and she watches over all of Rosewall's, like, secret books. She moves room to room, essentially to keep protecting those books, because whatever's in those books must be really important. Like, I can't wait to find out, like, maybe what's in one of them. Like, maybe one day Subaru, because Subaru can find her wherever she is. So maybe he'll go in there while she's sleeping or something and, like, look at one of the books, and maybe some deep dark secret will be in there. Like, maybe he'll find out something about Elsa and they may be connected to this family. There's just so many things that can go with that I feel like can make this story that much more interesting. I also love all the lighthearted moments, like when he's teaching Amelia the warm-up exercises. Like, that was so funny. He's trying to hang out with her so badly. I feel like that's why he didn't really think of any other reward to ask for. He's asked to be hired there so he could be near, like, all these, what he calls beautiful women. And the maids were the funniest part of this episode. Like, anytime Subaru would just do something over the top, they would instantly be there to criticize him and talk him down. When he was in the suit that didn't fit him, they were talking so much trash, and it was so funny. I can't wait to see more of them because their personalities are so interesting. And my favorite part of the episode by far is when he's talking about how he views these maids as beautiful out loud and kind of all the things that he wants to do with them, and they're just like, he just like verbally violated us. I thought that part was too funny. I also love the part where you see all the cuts on his hand because he's been working in the kitchen all day, and he has all these cuts on his hands, and Amelia's just like, let me use my healing magic on you just to heal your hands up real quick. Like, why don't you just let me do that? And he's just like, no, I like learning. Like, these prove that I'm actually pushing myself. And I feel like the other reason, like the underlying theme reason of why he didn't want that is because it's proof that he's still human. Like, even in this world with all this magic, these beautiful girls, these elves, like all of this in another world, like, he's the only human there, and he still wants something to feel human. And I feel like him wanting to learn and him wanting to push himself, or just like him trying to prove that he's still that human. But by the end of the episode, we're literally thrown back in the cycle of the return by death power, and I was really confused at this one. Is it like anytime he's injured and he'll wake up in the redo time? I'm just like, what pushed it this time? Like, what even pushed his power to make him go back into the bed? Because when he wakes up and he's just like, they're calling him guests or whatever, he's just like, why are you calling me a guest? I work here now. Like, you don't have to call me a guest. And he was just like, man, I returned by death. And I'm just like, but he didn't die. Is it because of the cuts? Is it because like anytime he's injured or something? Or does it have to do with him going to sleep? There's just so much to this that I want to understand, and I'm just like, we're gonna slowly learn more and more about it, and I just can't wait to figure out like, why did he get sent back this time? Like, if it's because of the cuts, then shouldn't he got sent back because of the cut to his stomach from Elsa, and after Amelia like bandages him up? Or is it because Amelia healed him that he didn't go back? Maybe, like I said, maybe it has to do with injury. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. But until next time, guys, peace.